Recently Rocksteady nerfed burning builds, and yes, they are still really powerful, but if you want to reach top in the leaderboard, you need something else. So what I want to show you this time is a toxic build for Harley. It's a really strong build, it's a really powerful build, and you can even watch my previous video when we melted Brainiac, and even despite I was 10 levels underleveled, it was still really comfortable run, because my highest mastery unlocked for this activity for Brainiac was mastery 10, and I played mastery 20, so I was 10 levels underleveled, and it was still really comfortable and really nice run. We melted Brainiac in 3%. So about this build, what do you need for this build? The first thing you need is tier 1 sets from Infinite Crisis. And why do you need this set? Because this set, 3 pieces of the set, because this set grants you very nice bonuses that giving you grenades from just melee hits, that killing enemies, that just hitting enemies with your melee, making them crazy and have a very high chance, 50% chance to drop grenade ammo, to drop grenade ammo, and also making critical hits on crazed enemies. You're also spawning these rage zones, these green skull and bone zones, and running through the zones. You're increasing all your damage by 100% for 20 seconds, and it's very easy with 3 pieces of the set to refresh this bonus. You just need to throw grenades and to kill enemies with grenades, and this is how you refresh this rage buff on your character. And also with 3 pieces of the sets, you increasing grenade damage. With this rage buff on your character, you increasing your grenade damage, so it's not a big deal to kill enemies with grenades to refresh this buff. You can ask why we're using crazy debuff on enemy. Why we're using crazy debuff in this build? Yes, it's increasing enemies' health, but it's not a big deal. At least for me, I'm playing all the activities 22, 24 mastery currently, and I see no problem fighting enemies, especially with these builds. Yes, they have increased health, but just use your grenades, just refresh your rage debuff, just proc everything from this build, and you see no problem killing them. Because yes, with increased health, maybe sometimes at the higher mastery levels, maybe you will struggle sometimes fighting bosses, fighting big cats, but in general you're still doing great amount of damage, and it's really easy to counter them, because the main thing you get from this build is survivability, because with crazy debuff you increase in enemies' health, but you make all the enemies hit by this crazy debuff attacking each other, so it's a question of survivability. You're not only relying on your shield mod and your shield harvesting, but you're also relying on crazy debuffs that really helping you to survive. So the first thing for this build you need is tier 1 set, and to buff this tier 1 set you need Poison's Ivy set, 2 pieces, because first piece bonus is increasing damage dealt to all afflicted enemies with crazy debuff from our from our tier 1 set. So you really need to buff this. You really want to buff all your affliction damage and to increase your damage dealt to afflicted enemies. And the second piece, giving you a really nice bonus, that critical hits of your all your critical hits. By the way, they have quite low chance, but still a very nice additional chance to proc random affliction, and these afflictions affecting enemies hurt them for 25% of their maximum health. So it's a really nice addition to your build. So you really want Poison Ivy set with tier 1 set, and with that set it's quite obvious that you need Venom Frenzy on all your weapons, on your melee weapon, on your grenade to proc additional to proc additional craze on enemies. And what else do you need? I'm using this pistol, but also you can use this LMG, also a really nice weapon, this heavy weapon from this set. It's really not very important for this set. I'm just using this item because I really like hand cannons, because I've played Destiny a lot, so I really like this animation. I really like how it's working, how it's shooting. But honestly, first slot is not making a big change. You only need this SMG from tier 1 set, and you're using this almost all the time. So here you can use either pistol from this set, because these two sets also synergizing really well, because different sets from different villains synergizing in your build. So I'm using this set with tier 1 set. They're synergizing really well, so you can use from this set either pistol or hand cannon or SMG. It's not a big deal, you can choose whatever you want. So you can see mods or augmentations I'm using. I've changed my augmentations to critical hits to make more critical hits, to proc additional second and third bonuses on my tier 1 items. So I'm just changing everything to critical hits. Additional traversal attacks resource, because traversal attacks are really powerful in this game, and you really need to master them to be successful at higher mastery levels, right? So here I'm changing to here I've changed mods to ammo, because to ammo gaining from critical hits, because sometimes I'm really lacking ammo on my SMG, because I'm just maining my SMG. I'm shooting it all the time. And also increasing my SMG damage and damage to crazed enemies with this firearm, because I'm shooting this firearm all the time, so we really need as much damage as we can. Additional, what's the most important thing is Suicide Strike on melee hit, because why not? Suicide Strikes are really very powerful. All the skills are very powerful in this game, so we really need additional skills recharge. And we're using melee charger. I'm using melee charges quite often, and also we're putting craze debuff from our melee hits. So why not regenerating our Suicide Strike from melee hits? And also, what else do we need? We need shield regeneration, because it's your survivability. You always need more HP to live better, to survive all the enemies' attacks, and especially to survive Brainiac tier 15 plus, because all the modifications of the activity mastery levels 15 plus, they're quite difficult, so you definitely need more and more survivability. So why not having this 3.5% shield on just simply making melee hits? On my grenade, I'm just I rolled my grenade with additional explosion radius, and it's helped me a lot, because it's crazing much more enemies, because 20% radius, it's quite a big. It's quite a big in this game, and you will see change. You will see how it changes. It changed my gameplay drastically, so I can throw less grenades and craze more enemies. Next thing is again increasing my damage, all possible damage outputs. This time I'm increasing grenade damage to brute enemies, and also recharging my another skill, traversal attack, from enemy hits with my grenade. And because explosion radius is very big, we increased our explosion radius for almost 20%, so we regaining much more traversal attack resources from just hitting all the enemies around with a single grenade. So on my shield mod, I will talk about my shield mod a little bit later. Currently we're only looking at augmentations. On my shield mod I've changed my augmentations to SMG damage, because we are maining SMG all the time, to additional damage reduction, because again it's about everything about survivability and damage, and again Suicide Strike resource generation, because our skills are very powerful. Next, you can see I'm increasing my damage, I'm increasing my survivability on all the items, and also I'm increasing my skills recharge. The same with my neck bomb, but here I also increasing damage from my grenades because we are shooting SMG using skills and throwing grenades all the time. By the way, it's all our gameplay loot to shoot our SMG, to throw grenades, and to use our skills when they are ready. So here I'm increasing our grenade damage against ground enemies, again much better survivability with shield harvest chance, and also I'm increasing damage to crazed enemies because we are making enemies crazy with our melee, with our infamy set, and with our grenade. So additional damage to crazed enemies. And the last thing, and the last my item, Lucky Charm, I changed. I also I didn't change M again from critical hits because sometimes I lack my I really need more ammo, and it's really nice to have more ammo, especially when you are fighting tough enemies and they are not dropping additional ammo. You really need additional ammo to spawn before these big cats appearing on the battlefield. And again, shield regeneration on critical hits, and additional reducing cooldown of my skills. This time on squad ultimate. That is very powerful. About my shield mod, what do we need? In this slot? You can either use a turtle shell when you are hitting at least one enemy with enhanced traversal attack. It's your skill at the it's your skill. It's your let me show you. Let me show you the skill so you understand then our gameplay loop and what we are using. It's this skill. If you are playing PC, it's a skill on it's a skill that it's a skill on the button 3. So it's our traversal attack. Let me 1 second come back. It's our enhanced traversal attack, and using this skill, our first skill, getting us 90% damage reduction for 5 seconds. And we need only to hit one enemy to get this damage reduction, and this duration is increased by 2 seconds for every enemy killed, and up to maximum duration of 15 seconds. And it's quite easy to refresh with all the stuff, with all the damage outputs we have in this build, with all the SMG damage from all our augmentations, with our damage on crazed enemies, with our grenades, with our melee. So you will just almost all the time have this shield. You just need to use your skill, and to play your main gameplay loop. Also, you can, instead of the turtle shield, the turtle shell, you can use heat waves, molten skin. But to proc heat waves, molten skin, you need to make your enemies burning. And yes, it's also giving you the same 90% damage reduction, and it's quite easy to extend, just making all your enemies burning. But in my build, in this build, it's not a great option, it's not the best option, because I'm trying to make as much enemies crazy as possible with Venom Frenzy on my melee, with my SMG, with my grenades, so I don't want to miss additional chances to make enemies crazy because of all these bonuses I'm getting on crazy enemies, because of this rage buff I'm getting from critical hitting crazy enemies. So I at least in this build I want as much resources of crazy enemies as possible. So I don't really like Heatwave's molten skin in these builds, because we definitely need much more resources of crazy enemies to make all the enemies around crazy, so they're hitting each other and we're increasing damage on them, just hitting them with SMG and our grenades. So I really suggest you using the turtle shell, but if you don't get turtle shell from incursion missions, you also can use Heatwave, also can use Heatwave's molten skin, but it also will be okay. But be sure to change Venom Frenzy on these items, on your melee item and on your grenade, to firing the buff. So about our skills, what are we using here? We are using Leave the Mark because additional bleed damage, it's a really nice bonus. Additional damage from our melee hit. Handy hand cannons because we are using we are not using heavy weapon in this build, and we don't need to increase our melee hits, our melee damage, but sometimes you can shoot hand cannons, your pistol, and shooting this adds 10 combo and higher. You're also putting bleed damage on your enemies, so it's a really nice additional dot on the enemies. So why not using this? Why not stacking all the bleed resources from melee hits, from your pistol, from your hand cannon to even make more damage? So also also you need to choose group therapy, so hitting 3 more enemies with grenade generates 3 combo, because we really need combo for this skill. I will talk about this a little bit later. Next one is spawning additional grenade on grenade hits, because we need a lot of grenades to play our main gameplay loop, to throw grenades all the time. So we definitely need additional grenades recharging, and grenade spawning. Bottle rocket, quite obvious. Grenade parade, also very important, very powerful skill. Why do we need this? Why not home cooking? Because home cooking, yes, it's increasing your grenade damage, but it's increasing your grenade damage only after performing a shield harvest 20 combo or higher, and it's playing 20 plus mastery levels. It's quite difficult to perform a shield harvest all the time, so I really like grenade parades. So I'm just hitting enemies with my grenades, and they just taking 20% more damage for 10 seconds. I really like the skill because it's much easier to proc, much easier than proccing 20x combo and also performing a shield harvest at 20 plus combo. Also, we are choosing Clown Smackdown, so we are also regenerating our Suicide Strike to get more skills, quite obvious. And we're using Ballerina. Why we're using Ballerina? Because it's a really powerful skill that, again, increasing all the damage outputs from grenades, from melee, from firearm. And yes, you can use the show must go on, but you will lack damage sometimes, especially if you are playing master levels 15 plus. So I really enjoy this perk to increase our damage even further. And you can use intensive treatments, but you have enough survivability from crazing all the enemies around and from our turtle shield mod. So also we will use this perk called safety first. So I don't think that we really need this additional damage reduction. And also be careful, because this perk, intensive treatment, it's only increasing your survivability, only increasing your damage reduction and shield harvest chance and shield capacity at 50 combo, or sorry, at 40 combo or higher. So be careful, it's not increasing your damage reduction all the time, only 40 combo or higher. So I really enjoy this skill because it's we get quite enough combo points to reach Ballerina almost all the time in our fights, and it's increasing all our damage output, and it's a really powerful skill. So I really like Ballerina over intensive treatment. So in the Meet My Mallet, I'm choosing performance art, additional damage reduction, what I was talking about, damage reduction all the time. Also, I'm using safety first, increasing shield overcharge and shield pickup amount, because we really need an additional survivability, as I already told you. I don't think that we need drone in the zone, because yes, we need additional skill recharge, but skill recharging, you just use your skill and you're just waiting for another skill to recharge, and you're not skills in this game. They're not working like, for example, example in Outriders, when you are using your skills all the time. So I really suggest you not rely on your skills. It's not what you are using all the time, it's not saving you all the time, but additional damage reduction is the thing that really saves you almost all the time. So I really like performance art and really suggest you using this. And why not additional 5 combo? Because as I already told you, with all this stuff, with all our main gameplay loop, I will talk about it a little bit later, we get enough combo to just get all the combos, to get really fast get to the cap of the combo. I mean to the 50 combo. So I'm not struggling from lacking of combos. So I really suggest you using safety first to increase your shield overcharge and shield pickup amounts for better survivability. Next we are using, of course, 3 strikes, and we are using powder keg. Why? Because we need every enemy hit by grenades deals 25% less damage for 15 seconds, and we're throwing our grenades all the time. So it's additional survivability. It's really helpful skill in our build. Also, additional combo, we don't need additional combo, and we don't need increasing our melee damage, because when it's not a melee build, it's a SMG build and grenade build, but not a melee build. So why not? I suggest you using powder keg over keep 'em coming. It's quite useless skill for our build. Next, I'm using tightrope acts. So at 30%, at 30 combo and higher, every additional combo giving us 5% chance to survive strikes that will kill us, and instantly regenerate our health and 25% of our shield. So it really helps us to survive, especially in tough situations at mastery 20 plus. And we don't need I don't like the all and 2, because this skill only increasing our suicide strike damage by, yes, very big amount of very big percentage, but only for 60% and only after shield harvest. And sometimes I want to save my suicide strike to hit very strong enemies that stands in quite far away from me, but I can't get to this enemy. So I don't want in my build to rely on these timings, and I really prefer just having additional opportunity to cheat death and just to survive one shots, and I have this opportunity every 2 minutes. So it's a really powerful skill that just helping you a lot again to survive very dangerous situations. And the last skill in this tree is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. We transforming our Arkham special. Let me show you where it is. Arkham special is our skill. Where it is? It's our. Let me show you how it's working. Yeah, this is how it's working. At 50% combo and higher, we're increasing again our firearm damage and our grenade damage, and it's increased. It's very powerful. So you are dealing even more damage to the enemies. You are dealing a lot of damage to all your enemies. And yes, it was our yeah, here was your Arkham special, and we're changing this Arkham special to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So I was trying to find Arkham special, and here it was. But when you are changing your Arkham special to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or to Kiss Kiss Step Step, Arkham special changed to this skill in here in the middle of the tree. And the last tree, one woman show, we're using on the hop, increasing our damage reduction, additional damage reduction while airborne, because we're airborne almost all the time. You are using you need to be traversal to play mastery ranks 20 plus and higher successfully. So you need to learn all your traversal moves and all your traversal, and to play traversal gameplay almost all the time to be successful and to nuke all the enemies around. So increasing our damage reduction while airborne, 100% elusiveness to not losing our combo. It helps also. Sometimes it can help because you just reach and you just traverse big zones, and sometimes you can just lose your combo. So not losing combo, it's very powerful. It's a very nice addition to our build. Also, ground evades and ground slides have a 100% chance to generate one combo, while in combat also additional combo, because at least I'm using ground evades and ground slides quite often, and increasing. Also, you can increase your grenade damage, but additional combos, why not having you can use sliding shrapnel, but I'm using this because you need some additional source to proc ballerina all the time and to proc kiss kiss bang bang, and kiss kiss bang bang increasing your grenade damage by 100% and ballerina increasing your grenade damage by 50%. So we don't need this additional 50% grenade damage. I really like to secure my my combo score to proc the ballerina and kiss kiss bang bang for sure. We don't need as much score that given skills from these first two trees, but additional score from ground evades and ground slide is a very nice bonus to our build. What else I'm using? A grapple a day. Grapple attack traversal damage is increased by 50% because our skills is very powerful. As I told you, it's a very powerful source of damage, and we already have enough survivability, so we don't need additional survivability from grandstand. So I'm using a grapple a day. Agent of Chaos, squad ultimates, it's quite obvious. You cannot not choose this skill. And from these two, I'm choosing ultimate refresher, because sometimes when enemies pressing you a lot, you just want to press one button and regenerate all your shield and overcharge your shield and regenerate all your HP. It's a very powerful tool to survive tough situation. In addition to cheating deaths with cheating deaths from Tightrope Act. So yes, ultimate Trill Ride is also a very powerful skill that increases our traversal attack damage, our skill attack damage, but it's only increasing our traversal attack damage and suicide strike damage while our ultimate is active, and our ultimate is not something that's lasting very long. So I really suggest you using ultimate refresher to just press one button and to refresh all your HP. It's a very powerful tool. And about our squad skills, I don't have enough I didn't unlock enough squad skill points to level up everything I need for this build. I'm using just killing scene to I'm using increasing of SMG damage because we're using SMG all the time. Now I'm trying another build, so I'm trying to also put into heavy weapon damage, but you don't need this. You only need to increase your SMG damage. Also, I'm increasing my health and increasing my shield. You can see the opinion on YouTube on other guides that it's useless to put points into increasing health and increasing shield, but in my opinion, when you got additional 20% shield and 20% health, it helps a lot, especially if you are if you're only starting to play, and especially if you don't have enough if you don't have enough character level to unlock all the stuff you need. So if your character level is not high enough, I really suggest you using to increase your SMG damage and to increase your health and shield. the first thing you need to increase is your health, and after that you need to increase your shield. In ideal situation, if your character level is high, just respec all the points into the let me find this grenade ammo drop chance. When you will reach your character, your character level 75. Respec all the tree into grenade ammo drop chance, because you need a lot of grenades. An additional grenade is a very nice thing to play with for our build. And into SMG damage, into grenade ammo drop chance, and into damage dealt to brute enemies and damage dealt to grunt enemies. So at higher character level, you definitely need these passives: damage to grunt enemies, to brute enemies, grenade ammo drop chance, and SMG damage. And also, if you want, you can also, if you have enough squad skill points, you can also put your squad skill points into damage reduction from brute enemies, from grunt enemies, into damage reduction, burning resistance, into for example, frozen resistance, and difference, for example, Batman infused enemies reduction. So you definitely need to unlock these skills later when you will reach level 120 of your character. But if you don't have enough skill points, if you only started to play, just put all your skills into your health, into your SMG damage, and into your shield, and it will also help you a lot. So don't be afraid to put here your points. You can respect them anytime you want. So about our gameplay loop. So how we are playing, the most important thing I want to show you. You can see, again, let's look at our set bonuses, and you can see that we need a lot of crazing. So we need to craze all the enemies around, as much enemies as possible, and also we need to put a lot of afflictions on our enemies, because we're also increasing our damage dealt to affliction enemies. So our gameplay loop is quite simple. We just need to throw a grenade, put afflictions to enemies, and just shoot them with our SMG. So, by the way, it's all a gameplay loop. It's nothing difficult at all. You just shooting grenades. You just hitting enemies with grenades, making them crazy, putting crazy affliction on your enemies, and shooting them with SMG. And if you need additional resource of crazing enemies, you just using your heavy melee strike, your affliction strike from your melee. So again, I'm throwing my grenade, I'm shooting enemies with my SMG, and I'm using my skills whenever they're ready. So it's quite simple. So we are making enemies crazy all the time, they're attacking each other, and we just standing, surviving, and shooting them with SMG. Our SMG dealing a lot of damage, and we keep throwing these grenades. We keep throwing them all over all the time, and we're getting our grenades back. We are using our skills. We are getting shield from our traversal, and we just recharging grenades. We are using our skills, shooting SMG again, throwing grenades, and here is our gameplay loop. So you see, nothing difficult at all, but it's a very fun build to play with. Here I'm using our traversal and getting my turtle shield to increase my survivability. From just one skill. Again, throwing my grenade, shooting enemies with SMG, here it is. Shooting another grenade, throwing another grenade. If I don't have grenades, if I've got unlucky and I need additional source of affliction, I'm just using my heavy melee skill. And here it is. So nothing difficult at all. And it's a very strong build. For example, I'm playing high difficulty. I'm playing something like invasion level 3, and by the way, its game is not difficult at all on any of these invasion levels difficulties. So just keep playing the build and do this gameplay loop. And the main thing you need to know and the main thing you need to do is to master its traversal gameplay, to be in air as much as possible, to increase your damage reduction, because you remember we have skill to we have skills that increasing our damage reduction while we are airborne. So just throw your grenades, use your skills, shoot your SMG, use your skills again to proc additional shield. And here it is. Quite simple gameplay loop, but a very strong build. It's really helping you a lot, even if you are underleveled. So good luck!